Week 2 for Carolina football. Tar Heels on the road again this week to see East Carolina in Greenville, coming off the long trip to Cal this past week. Thanks for being with us again. I'm Jones Angel. He's the head coach of the Tar Heels, Larry Fedora. Coach, let's go back to last week before we talk a little bit about how you're handling this week. I know penalties were an issue against Cal, 13 of them in the game. You guys practice that a ton. I know you have officials at practice. What kind of things are you trying to do during practice to make sure that carries over to the ball game?
Well, we're constantly pointing it out all the time. It's been a point of emphasis for us. We have officials at practice every day to point out any times we have problems. We had two on offense. We had 2 holdings on the outside with the wide receiver, and we had 3 illegal procedures, and 2 of those were on the snapper. On defense, we had a face mask, we had a personal foul, and we had 2 PIs. And then we had a block in the back on special teams, and then we had 2 on what was called a batting the ball on a onside kick, and the other one where the ball hadn't gone 10 yards.
Not that Coach hadn't thought about it or studied those penalties. He obviously knows every single one of them. Tough day at times for Nathan Elliott. Seemed like Nathan got into a little more comfort level as the game went on. But what kind of conversations do you have this week with your quarterback, understanding that he didn't do what he wanted to do?
Well, you tell him to make sure he just sticks to the basics. Be brilliant in the basics. Do what we do. Do what you've been taught, and stick with the techniques. Keep your eyes where they're supposed to go, and don't worry about the rush. And focus on your coverage keys. And when you do that, that's going to tell you where to go with the ball, and you'll be okay.
I know there's no moral victories, but what do you take away from the way you play, particularly in the fourth quarter?
Well, the only thing that you can talk about is if you execute, this is who we can be. If you don't execute, will be who we were in the first half. And so, it's purely execution, and our guys understand that, and we'll get better at it.
Let's look just kind of how you're handling this week, Coach. It was a long trip back. You get back late on Saturday night / Sunday morning. You're traveling again this week, albeit much closer, but still traveling again on the road. How do you make sure the guys are as fresh as possible this week?
Well, that's really important, and so that we know they didn't get a good night's sleep Saturday night. Sure. We were on the plane the entire night. We got in at about 4 in the morning, and so we didn't have a practice on Sunday, which we normally do. And then we basically, all we did on Monday was give them, it was their day off, but we did two methods of recovery. They did some yoga, and they did some massages, and then we did some band stretching and rolling out some muscles and all those things. And then, Tuesday and Wednesday are normal practices, and the rest of the week, you got to get ready to go.
Let's talk a little bit about East Carolina, Coach. What have you seen from the Pirates? A little bit of a later start, I know, in getting ready because they had to wait till Sunday to play their game due to weather. What do you know about ECU?
Yeah, well, they threw the ball around really well. They threw for over 300 yards, a couple touchdowns. They turned it over twice down on the goal line, and one of them was for a pick 6, which is really the difference in the game. So they moved the ball the way they wanted to on offense. Defensively, they were pretty stout throughout the entire game. There was not many plays that they gave up. They got hit on they brought a corner crash one time, and a receiver made a play, and that was it. But they were really sound in all their kicking games. There were no mistakes there. And they played well enough to win a football game, but they turned it over.
Last thing, Coach, I know one game doesn't make or break your season. I know also there's disappointment when you lose that first game. Have you gotten a feel for your mindset of your guys here after a tough first week?
Yeah, they expected to win the football game, and offensively we didn't perform the way that we were expected to perform. Defensively, I think our guys felt good about the way they played, but they didn't feel good that we didn't win a football game.
3:30, Carolina and East Carolina in Greenville this weekend. Radio-wise, we'll be on the air at 2:30 to get you ready for the next meeting between the Heels and the Pirates. Thanks for being with us.